women in the camp fell like puzzle pieces into place. Now I see. She turned to him. Francisco? An old woman in the last camp. She said something about injections and scans. She was surprised I hadn't been injected. She meant the chipping. Lord God have mercy. It's worse, whispered Lightfoot, her eyes to the stars. Much worse. He sat up, his broad arms over his knees. How? It's not just the numbers, 10 times what we've known about. It's the gathering. Gathering? Shipping manifests, trucks, buses, repurposed train lines. They aren't taking them to the border. He angled his head down, his eyes fixed on her face. In the dark, her green irises were black with glints of starlight. Where are they taking them? She gestured around them. Here, somewhere. These camps sprouting like shrooms around Vegas are feeder camps. His muscles tightened. The air cooled after the sun dropped. The land's stillness was otherworldly. Feeding what? She waved the stick in the air. I hope the answer's on here. I'm afraid we might not have much time. He held his hand out toward the device. She held his gaze and handed it over. It floated like a canoe in the lake of his large palm. You know how it sounds, he said, staring at the flash drive. We know how it sounds. He made a fist around the stick and stood, looking away from the distant lights of Vegas. He examined the stars, pinpointing due north, examining the shadows of the terrain. Then we better get to Mount Charleston. Soon. But Uncle Sam has a hell of a price on our heads. I still don't know who has the resources to get us out of there safely. Intel One does, said Lightfoot, her eyes flickering a dim green. Lopez laughed. Something tells me that they might have an issue or two with what we're doing. They might come pick us up all right. It's the destination after I'm worried about. Houston concurred. No way that's a good route. Rebecca would help us, and John's fighting his demon right now. Lightfoot's eyes teared up. I'm afraid it's going to win. And our Cassandra returns. He never knew what to think of Lightfoot's strange declarations and intuitions, except that no one ignored them at great peril. He stood, pebbles rattling from his soiled clothes. Chickens before hatching. We still need to get somewhere to make a call. Any kind of call. The sounds of the helicopter were a little louder. Lopez glanced over his shoulder at the blinking lights in the sky over the silent desert. And I'm not sure we're going to make it. Sweet presidency. Oh, am I good?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were done.
I
Bye.
could be.
Bye.
All right, just a few pages here. This would be quick.
It's okay. I thought that was an expectant look. I'm sorry. I
Oh,
misread.
expectant. Okay, I'll work on my looks.
Or at least the direction where they're pointed.
There we go. Oh, yeah. Okay. Sweet presidency, term 1, 4th year. Accuracy in Media Act, now law. Washington Post and Jeff Bezos indicted. By Odette Johnson and Herman Hempelman, New York Times. Amid protests from the left and the right, President Sweet signed the recently passed AMA bill, transforming American historical approaches to the Fourth Estate. The law severely curtails what is permitted for the press to publish about political leaders, limiting the use of anonymous sourcing and broadening the definition and prosecutorial authority to go after libel. In signing the bill into law, Sweet met another of his campaign promises to expand laws on libel and sue the press from his position as president. When I won, right at the top of things to do was expand and broaden our laws on libel. When these leftist liars print lies, negative and terrible, Americans need to be able to sue them for lots and lots of money. That's only fair. So we're planning to take a hard look at libel laws with the Congress. So when the Amazon Washington Post writes some kind of hit piece on me or someone in Congress, all of it totally disgracing. The victims can seek justice to their damaged reputations from these degenerates. Make them pay right out the nose. Right now, these awful people are totally protected. We'll change that. The law is immediately challenged as unconstitutional and is expected to go to the Supreme Court. However, with a 6-3 majority filled with several highly conservative justices appointed by President Sweet, and with Clarence Thomas on record as favoring much stronger libel laws, many legal scholars believe that the new law will be upheld. The legislation also creates the new Department of Media Accuracy. Today, Sweet appointed Klucker Snarlson, former media pundit on Candid News, to head this organization. Mr. Snarlson has been taking on the fake news media since they waged their dishonest and criminal campaign to slander me and my administration. No one is better to judge media content than he is. While details of the new department's structure are vague, it is expected to be imbued with the power to examine, review, block, and refer any content deemed malicious libel to the DOJ for prosecution. The resulting judgments issued by the DMA could range from fines and loss of broadcasting licenses to trial. One provision of the new law specifically focuses on penalties for any defamatory content against the president, members of Congress, and the judiciary. This is the next step toward tyranny, said former advisor to Elaine York and Navy intelligence officer Jason Wright. The press is the only private institution granted specific rights in the Constitution. That was for a reason. Its job, its duty to society, is to challenge authority, to make the lives of those in power that much harder. They are the watchdog of our democracy, and we're shooting that dog in the leg today. The first enforcement of the AMA was carried out before the ink was dry from Sweet's pen, when the new Department of Media Accuracy issued an injunction against the Washington Post and indicted its owner, Jeff Bezos, the billionaire founder of Amazon.com Incorporated. Although court challenges reopened the presses that same day, the incident sent a chill through the American press. Speaking for the Post competing newspaper, Arthur Sulzberger Jr., publisher of this paper, released a statement following the DMA actions. When the President of the United States labels the free press the enemy of the people for doing its constitutionally protected duty of holding those in power to account, the government has discarded democratic principles for those embraced by tyrants, Mr. Sulzberger said. A free press is a notion previous presidents have strongly defended on a nonpartisan level, even in the face of staunch criticism from the Fourth Estate. The publisher added, I have often warned President Sweet that his insightful rhetoric is encouraging the rising spate of intimidation and violence against journalists, both domestically and across the world. There we go.
That's an expectant look.
That was good. Okay.
Great. Well, thank you so much. Your voice is super suited to this type of story.
Oh, I love it. And I love narrating this kind of thing. And Eric Stebbins is a great author. It's been a lot of fun to work with him.
Good. And this is China Girls, and China Girl rather, and that's available at the URL that you've posted in your comment, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Anything else you want viewers to know, or?
I think I said it all. I think you're doing a fantastic job. I'm so grateful to be a part of this. Let's keep helping each other and help other people.
Yes. Amazing. Thank you so much, Rick. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, Alex.
All right. So as we have said, part of the reason that it's so wonderful that our artists are donating their time is that not only are they donating the 15 or 20 minutes that they're performing, but they are also donating the hours and the blood, sweat, and tears it took to build up a craft that is actually your body and the things that you need to do with that. And for that, for all of our artists who have been and all of our artists who are yet to come, we're all greatly appreciative. And the best way to show appreciation is to pay it forward. So if you go down to the link at the Hustling Creative LLC, I just posted one more refresher on the link to donate, because we are about $70 away from our goal, which is incredible. I'm so happy to have all of you. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you for supporting your artists. Honestly, I can't speak for all artists because some definitely want the money, and I definitely want the money. But it really helps to know that that we can do something for good at a time like this, when we do feel so helpless to share and to perform our craft and to do what we love. So thank you. Now, I am going to give you just a little bit of an update. We are running about an hour behind. So if anyone, please just keep a lookout. I've got Adam coming up next, but then if you're following along with the schedule, we're just going to follow the schedule that I had posted on the event page, just an hour behind after we've gotten to Adam. So we'll do Adam's piece, and then we will start the top of the next hour with Noe. And yeah, I'm super excited. Thank you for tuning in. My apologies. For some reason, people have voiced that we're having some trouble with YouTube. So if you can, please direct them to our Facebook page. And if not, then we're doing our best to record this. Not quite sure if that's happening, if we're already having trouble with YouTube, but we're doing our best to record. So hopefully this is something that that we can share later on down the line. Our fundraiser will also be open for 24 hours after we close the marathon. So if you see something you liked and you were like, wow, I'm feeling even more generous than I was feeling yesterday, then you are in luck. You can donate at any time up until tomorrow. Great. Now I am so happy to introduce you to Adam. Hey there.
Hey.
Hey, it's good to see you. For those who don't know, this is Adam Myers. He's from this same area. Are you technically in Maryland, or are you in DC?
I'm in Maryland. I'm Bethesda.
Right.
It's about 15 minutes away from DC. So, since no one knows where Bethesda is, we always just say we're in DC.
Sure. Sounds wonderful. So can you tell us a little bit about what you're going to show to us today?
Yes, I can. So a few years ago, I created my first short film. Now, I had worked on short films before, but this was one that I did with pretty much zero budget, so it's a little rough around the edges. But it was written by me, directed by me, edited by me, produced by me. So it was my first ever really big project as a true creative soul, where I wasn't just doing it for school or something anymore. It was real. And so this is very much, it's not perfect, but I love it because it was the first time I felt like a real true artist soul. We were gonna do a Q&A. I don't know if we have time to do that anymore after this.
We can do a few questions. Yeah, if there's anything that why don't after this you can just say whatever you would like to about the film, and then if anyone has any questions, then they'll put them in the comments. How does that sound?
Yeah, basically the big thing I just want to get out there is that I really, I'm been doing so much more, and I want to do so much more than just what this is. But this is a really good example of a time where all it took was a bit of passion, and you can put something together that you can be proud of. Something original and beautiful. So I hope you guys enjoy this very much.
Thank you.
Let me get something running. Oh, wait. Need to make sure I'm sharing the audio.
Sure thing. while we are waiting, I just want to point out we will be hearing from Thomas Ehrman in a little bit, but he's been faithfully commenting all day, and I just want to say, Thomas, you are giving me so much life. We'll talk in a sec, I'm sure. I don't remember where in the lineup you are, but excited to hear from you and excited for the rest of our lineup. This has been such a great day. Really, really good day. Thank you for everyone who stuck with us.
I'm ready when you are, Alex.
Yep.
All right.
Amazing.
Professor, why are you sad? You should be happy.
Of course, my dear. I'm sorry. I've got some work on my mind. No rest for the wicked.
You look tired. Are you sleeping, Mom?
Liv, you remember?
I think I haven't told you before. I woke up in that bed 2 days ago with no idea who I was or how I got there. And you said my name was Liv, I had amnesia, and that you were keeping me safe until my memory came back. Why do you ask me this every day?
It's just to make sure your memory doesn't have any more problems. Standard procedure.
Professor, it's my head. I had a dream last night.
A dream.
Yes, I was strapped to a table, and I couldn't move. And there were men all around me, examining me.
Very odd.
Yes, I don't know what it means. But it could have been Henry, could it?
Highly unlikely. After all, why would they be examining a perfectly normal human girl in a factory?
That's what I thought. I think I'll stay out here a little while longer. I think you should get some rest. You've been working too hard.
Very well, my dear. Do let me know if you have more dreams.
Okay.
Perhaps I didn't hear you right. Did you say the android is dreaming?
Yes, of our creation. That shouldn't be possible.
Do you realize how much trouble we could be in if she figures out she's not human?
Of course I do. You fool. Still, scientific implications of a dream.
These androids are here to replace us, Professor. Teach her what she needs to know, run her through the paces, make sure the software works, and dismantle her body.
Yes, I know. She's just a prototype. I can fix this.
Do better. When she's working properly, we'll get to mass production and we will be very rich men. Get to it.
Wow! Look at this! It's raining!
My dear, I think we should get back to your studies.
Aw, why can't I have a day off? Ever since I woke up, you've been like, you gotta study. Come on, I wanna play in the rain. I remember rain.
Sorry. 5 years. Thanks.
Okay.
Actually, it's kind of weird that they're all come to the end though. I don't ask questions I don't know the answers to.
No,
And you know it. You can't do this to her anymore.
It is just a machine, Professor.
Is she, though? She's advanced beyond what we thought possible. She walks, talks, acts just like a normal girl.
Has she passed the tests?
Well, yes.
Then we can use her programming as a base for the second prototype. This is getting too risky. She needs to be disassembled now.
You're talking about killing her.
No, I'm ordering you to throw out a broken contraption. If you can't do it, I'll send over someone who can.
No, I'll do it.
Good man. Contact me when it's done so we can start on the next prototype.
Professor,
Liv, how long have you been there?
am I not real?
Of course you're real.
But I'm not alive. I'm just one line of things like a coffee maker. Is that why I can't remember things?
No, let me explain. Liv.
Stay back.
Liv, I'm sorry. But if I don't do this, they'll destroy my life. And one robot is not worth everything.
I thought you cared about me. I can't believe I was so blind.
Liv, wait!
Liv 1.0. Our makers request a truce.
Why? Running out of fakes? What are you? The 19th of your model I've stripped for parts?
That is correct. Your model was not built for long-term operation in hostile environments.
And your model was built to obey commands, right? So the makers can have full control over you in a situation?
That is correct.
Well then, how do they plan to handle...
Don't fight. Your CPU should be shutting down just about now.
Hey,
You know, this is where we built you. We knew you'd be astonishing, but we never expected this. You're so human. Except that your body is falling apart due to a lack of proper mechanical care.
what's gonna happen to me?
Well, we take your data, we put it into our computer, and we study it. Then we erase it from you and use it to build an android who won't glitch.
You think I'm a glitch? I have survived for 2 years with no scientist, with no mechanic. I am a technological marvel. And you want to erase me?
Not my call. Besides, my boss is not someone you're going to want to take off.
You think I didn't prepare for this? After all this time? I'm insulted. I installed the virus in your electrical systems. Good luck. Thanks for fixing me up, though. I feel great.
Android 1.0. The
Scarface, we need to talk. You are surrounded, but we don't want to hurt you. Please do not resist. We just want to talk. We are not associated with the men who built you or kept you captive.
Move it. Turn off the signal. Too weak to do any damage, even if I wanted to.
Android?
My name is Liv.
All we want is someone to testify against your creators. We've been watching you for a year and a half now. You are a fully sentient being, capable of your own thoughts. We've seen it. Lead us to them, testify, that's all we ask.
Then what?
Then we talk about your future.
You helped to try to destroy it. I mean her, a sentient being. That's an accomplice to murder, sir.
Liv, I swear, I never meant to hurt you. Just when it comes down to it, you're a thing, and I have a life.
Tell it to the judge.
Commander, that can't be everyone.
Oh, don't worry. We'll get them all soon enough.
And what about me? Do I get to live free now?
As much as I'd love to say yes, there's just too much we don't know about you to let you roam free.
What? But
I may have found a loophole, though.
I'm listening.
Everything all right, Lynn?
Never better.
Good. That's fun. How's she doing? Well, this was her choice, man. The reset and simulation are really making me feel like these past years was just a nightmare. Good. And the organization that built her? Disassembled. Well done, Commander. You saved all of her previous data? Yes, sir. It's there for you to dispose or use as you wish. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Adam.
Thank you.
Is there anything you'd want to share about the piece as we give people a minute in case they have any questions to type them out?
I think the most important thing is that, essentially most of the people who were involved didn't have a lot of time. There was a lot of, scheduling stuff. At one point I had to delay a shooting day for like a month because one of my actors just dropped out of the production entirely.
Yeah, collaborating is tough for sure.
But what I wanted to say is that, the people who just spared just tiny bit of time to come and shoot with me and help, set something up or whatever, like just those brief, small collaborations still helped a full thing come together. And it really represents to me the idea of no matter how little you can contribute, if you contribute something, you can make something amazing, which really is the point of this whole stream, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, everyone who can contribute a little thing can still contribute to something bigger. You know, and I do want to say, my girlfriend Rebecca is the star of this movie. She is Liv, and I think, you know, she did a fantastic job. I think she's watching this right now, and you know, she gave her all to this. It was very exciting for her and for me. And I don't know if he's watching this, but my friend Eric John was also, he was invaluable to this whole thing. He really committed to it, and he helped with sound and location scouting, which is a pain, and all sorts of stuff. And it was really, it was a wonderful experience. A lot of trial and error for the first time, but just having people say, like, I want to be part of this, or that even just I'll do it because it's you, is an amazing feeling that really brings something full together.
Definitely. All right. Well, thank you again so much, Adam. If you'd like to leave some information about how people can find you and your work, you can go ahead and do that in the comments. But I really appreciate you taking the time to share this. And also, boyfriend points. Good job. Send your girlfriend a shout out.
All right.
All right.
Thank
I'll
you
talk
so
to you
much.
soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Before we continue launching in, if any of you were here for our chocolate saga a little while ago, I actually have some information that the author posted for me to pass along to you. She unfortunately had some technical difficulties and wasn't able to get on the program, but she did want me to share a little statement about her work and the types of things that they're doing up in Boston in order to help people who are affected by this crisis. And you know, we're all doing our part in our different ways, and I'm so grateful that there are people out there like Deb doing this in every way they can. So let me just find this Facebook comment, and here we are. So, Deborah Harkins says in her comment, I wanted to plug the following project: Seeds for Change, Coronavirus Response, a Boston Resiliency Project, is a group of dedicated educators, mental health counselors, social workers, psychologists, and others who have and are working with low-income families in our Boston communities. The goal is to feed the bellies, hearts, and heads of 200 of Boston's neediest families. Many of these families are already struggling, doubled up in homes with little to no resources, many of whom will be the first to be unemployed during this pandemic. These families already suffer at low-paying jobs and 20% unemployment, and this number will likely double in the next couple of weeks as companies lay off their low-payment workers. Food deliveries will be made to provide bags filled with healthy food and snacks, books, and mental health tips. They have started a Facebook page seeking donations and as a place where there will be a storybook reading, educational webinar, mental health tips for different age children and their families. If they receive more help, they will expand the number of families they help. So thank you so much, Deb, for all the work that you are doing. Again, if any of you want to check out what Seeds for Change is doing, please take a look at the Facebook comments, because that is where to find out more about that work. All right, we are going to keep the party rolling with a little bit of poetry from a new friend who we met through this group, and his name is Noah. I'm just going to go ahead and bring you on. So, as I do, can you tell me how to pronounce your name?
So it's Noe, but pretty much you pronounce it right.
Noe. Okay, great.
Yeah. So I'm from San Jose, California, and I will be reading 2 poems that I wrote. So the first one is going to be Without the Rare. And I actually have 2 poetry pages, which I will be putting in the comments below in a moment. So thank you for having me, and I hope you guys enjoy.
Of course.
So this one is Without the Rare. And I woke up this morning feeling kind of rare. Only this time what caused this effect was not one of those. Last night I had it great. No, not a hangover, but deeply swimming in my mind, a thought in need of oxygen. And as I let the soul I am express this, kind of rare the feel easing gets, as live images, this poetry begins to paint. How would life on Gaia be without the rare? I wonder how without variety in cultures. Can you imagine our society without creative minds? Without those golden hearts to complement a rare personality? Can you imagine that I have been having dreams of an earth without melodies? An earth where the sun is not welcome at the break of dawn by the trail of birds. Could you imagine our planet without music? A planet without heartbeats? A planet and no dancers? I wonder who would rock and bang on the drums of our sharp ears if there is no drummer. Can you imagine our planet without an artist? Hence I write, because I have been having dreams of a colorless earth, an earth where the essence of life painted is no more by the sunshine through a pair of eyes, not even as the raindrops, nor rainbows. Can you imagine that? I am guessing that earth would be just an emptiness so vast, such a canvas ready to feel the sway of the brush, but around it, not a painter's soul. What would there be without the rare? What if non-existent were our spoken, our body, and written languages? Just imagine a world where not even a mime could express his wordless, deep sentiment. Let's now listen to the melodies of silence as I ponder and try to make sense of these dreams without writers. What would air be without the rare? So that's the first poem. And the second one I wrote is actually during this situation we're facing. I mean, currently we're supposed to stay home, and not be getting outside just to take care of our community. Everybody's getting sick. So I wrote this poem and I titled it, "Where is my mind?" So here goes. Where is my mind? We have been warned by our own planet, but our ignorance and lack of empathy keeps us in complete denial. We say we love nature, but we keep on exploiting that very essence. And for what? To quench our thirst for comfort and glamour? We were born human, but humanity has become a virus. And now we find ourselves with so much time to ponder on our situation, as a pandemic has split the world apart. How so? I thought that this is how it always was and always has been. Selfishness. We were asked to stay home, but of course our ego prevents us from listening. And now humanity's future so cloudy seems. And this is not just about you anymore. It's about us. It's about your son, your daughter, your sister, your brother, your mother, your father, and their mother too. Our neighbors, and that word expands to those abroad. Millennials, yeah, you are young, but don't forget that you will get old too. Where's your mind? Don't you have a heart? So, yeah, pretty much, I wanted to share this with you guys, and I will be leaving the links to my poetry page below. So here are the links. Let me go ahead and put them on the comments.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you so much. What I really loved about working with Noah was that when I first was in contact with you, we got in touch with each other maybe 3 or 4 days ago. You just immediately volunteered to write something new for this project, and that was really incredible. And I'm also really I'm so thankful to have to be able to collaborate with artists who want to give and to respond to what's going on around them. I think that's really, really beautiful.
Yeah, this is a really beautiful thing you're doing, bringing artists together so that way we can all share our work. And, I'm really enjoying this. Thank
I'm
you so
so
much for
glad.
having me.
I'm so glad. Well, it was so good hearing your work. And if anyone wants to see more of Noah's work, then he has his 2 Facebook links up in the comments. So thank you so much. I really, really
Thank you so
appreciate it.
much.
All right.
Appreciate
Great
it too.
job.
Bye.
Now, Adam has also posted his information here. So if any of you want to go check him out, he is also in the comments as well. All right. So moving right along, let's see. We are on our friend Thomas Ehrman. So I'm going to pull him up right meow. Hello.
Hey,
Hey, how's it going?
I seem to be having is it coming through okay out there?
It is. It is. Your
'Cause
video seems
okay.
to be your video is stopping and starting, but you'll be reading for us. So that's not the worst thing in the world. But your audio is
Sure.
coming through.
Yeah, you're cutting out a lot for me, but if I'm coming through clear enough, I'll just I can't hear you, unfortunately. We can't back and
We can't
forth as well,
banter.
but I know. I was so looking forward to that
I
too.
know. Hopefully things will improve, but we'll let you get started and then hopefully it'll be
Right.
better in a bit. Yes.
Yeah, we'll see maybe towards the end, and if you end up having to go back up plan and kick me off, school, the yoink thing with the with the cane,
The cane. Yes,
whatever.
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
Like the penguin
yeah.
in Mary Poppins. Yeah. Yeah. See, we're bantering. We can do this.
Right. So yeah, this is
Thomas.
Information. Is it
Thomas, now I am losing you now. Yeah. Can I so can I ask you, I'm going to put our next reader on, I think, and then I'll come into the private chat with you and try to troubleshoot this. Is that all right with you? I'm going to assume it's all right because I'm the boss. So I'm going to bring you off. Excellent. I see a thumbs up. Great. I'll meet you in the private chat. But if you are ready, Joyce, then I will bring you up. I see a thumbs up, which is my favorite sign. Hello. How you doing, Joyce?
Hi. Doing well. How are you doing?
Good.
How's your stamina? Are you still hanging in there?
Great. Oh, it's so great. Yeah.
Oh, I love your energy.
I appreciate it. It's actually crazy. So for anyone who's tuning in, Joyce and I just found out yesterday that a few years ago we used to live about 5 minutes away from each other, which is wild. We went to the same grocery store.
Yes. And never knew about each other till now.
I know.
We're now 1,000 miles away. So
yeah, the types of things that go on. In crazy times like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would love for you, if you'd like, just to give a little introduction about you, anything you'd like to say about your piece before launching in.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, I am posting my info there in the comment. I hope.
Amazing.
Hope that worked. All right.
Yes.
I'm Joyce. I'm Joyce Hoban. I'm an audiobook narrator. And my piece today, I'm reading a short excerpt from Rikki Tikki Tavi, which is one of my favorite stories of all time. And so to catch you up, if it's been a while since you've read the story, or if you're not familiar with it, Rikki Tikki Tavi is a mongoose. And in the story, as in real life, mongooses can kill and eat snakes. There are 2 cobras in the story, Nog and Nagaina, and they are well aware of what Rikki Tikki can do. So
awesome.
So, right? Mm-hmm. Gotta hydrate.
Is it mongoose or is it mongooses or is it mongeese? Now I'm gonna be like fretting about this. I won't be able to sleep tonight.
I I'm fighting the urge to say mongoose because that feels fun in the mouth.
It
But
feels so fun.
I think technically it's mongooses.
No,
But
we should
now
change it.
we
We should change
should.
it. Yep. It starts with it
Mhm.
starts with a few. And we've
Mhm.
got 100 people in our group, so we've got a
Yeah.
little
We can make it happen.
I believe in us.
Yes.
Sorry to distract you.
Quite all right. Rikki Tikki listened. The house was as still, but he thought he could just catch the faintest scratch in the world, a noise as faint as that of a wasp walking on a window pane, the dry scratch of a snake's scales on brickwork. That's Nog, or Nagaina, he said to himself, and he's crawling into the bathroom sluice. He stole off to Teddy's bathroom, but there was nothing there, and then to Teddy's mother's bathroom. At the bottom of the smooth plaster wall, there was a brick pulled out to make a sluice for the bath water. Rikki Tikki stole in by the masonry curb where the bath is put, and he heard Nog and Nagaina whispering together outside in the moonlight. When the house is emptied of people, said Nagaina to her husband, he will have to go away, and then the garden will be our own again. Go in quietly, and remember that the big man who killed Crate is the first one to bite. Then come out and tell me, and we will hunt for Rikki Tikki together. But are you sure that there is anything to be gained by killing the people? Said Nog. Everything. When there were no people in the bungalow, did we have any mongoose in the garden? So long as the bungalow is empty, we are king and queen of the garden. And remember that as soon as our eggs in the melon bed hatch, as they may tomorrow, our children will need room and quiet. I had not thought of that, said Nog. I will go. But there is no need that we should hunt for Rikki Tikki afterward. I will kill the big man and his wife, and the child if I can, and come away quietly. Then the bungalow will be empty, and Rikki Tikki will go. Rikki Tikki tingled all over with rage and hatred at this, and then Nog's head came through the sluice, and his 5 feet of cold body followed it. Angry as he was, Rikki Tikki was very frightened as he saw the size of the big cobra. Nog coiled himself up, raised his head, and looked into the bathroom in the dark. And Rikki could see his eyes glitter. Now, if I kill him here, Nagaina will know. And if I fight him on the open floor, the odds are in his favor. What am I to do? Said Rikki Tikki Tavi. Nog waved to and fro, and then Rikki Tikki heard him drinking from the biggest water jar that was used to fill the bath. That is good, said the snake. Now, when Crate was killed, the big man had a stick. He may have that stick still, but when he comes in to bathe in the morning, he will not have a stick. I shall wait here till he comes. Nagaina, do you hear me? I shall wait here in the cool till daytime. There was no answer from outside, so Rikki Tikki knew Nagaina had gone away. Nog coiled himself down, coil by coil, round the bulge at the bottom of the water jar, and Rikki Tikki stayed still as death. After an hour, he began to move, muscle by muscle, toward the jar. Nog was asleep, and Rikki Tikki looked at his big back, wondering which would be the best place for a good hold. If I don't break his back at the first jump, said Rikki, he can still fight. And if he fights, oh, Rikki. He looked at the thickness of the neck below the hood, but that was too much for him. And a bite near the tail? would only make Nog savage. It must be the head, he said at last. The head above the hood. And when I am once there, I must not let go. Then he jumped. The head was lying a little clear of the water jar, under the curve of it. And as his teeth met, Ricky braced his back against the bulge of the red earthenware to hold down the head. This gave him just 1 second's purchase, and he made the most of it. Then he was battered to and fro as a rat is shaken by a dog, to and fro on the floor, up and down, and round in great circles. His eyes were red, and he held on as the body cart-whipped over the floor, upsetting the tin dipper and the soap dish and the scrub brush, and banged against the tin side of the bath. As he held, he closed his jaws tighter and tighter, for he was sure he would be banged to death, and, for the honor of his family, preferred to be found with his teeth locked. He was dizzy, aching, and felt shaken to pieces when something went off like a thunderclap just behind him. A hot wind knocked him senseless, and red fire singed his fur. The man had been wakened by the noise, and had fired both barrels of a shotgun into Nog, just behind the hood. Rikki Tikki held on with his eyes shut, for now he was quite sure he was dead. But the head did not move, and the big man picked him up and said, "It's the mongoose again, Alice. The little chap has saved our lives now." Then Teddy's mother came in with a very white face and saw what was left of Nog, and Rikki Tikki dragged himself to Teddy's bedroom and spent half the rest of the night shaking himself tenderly to find out whether he was really broken into 40 pieces, as he fancied.
Amazing. Thank you so much. What do you love about the story? What you're just like, you've always been super passionate about it since day one.
I love the story. I first read it when I was a kid, and it just the spirit of the mongoose and how fearless he was, and there's more to the story too, and there are more characters, more animals, and just something about it has always really resonated with me and struck me.
I love that. I love that. Are you able to narrate things like this when now that you're grown up a little bit more?
Yes, and since this is in the public domain, so there's no copyright restriction on this anymore, so I can do whatever I want with this. I can, and I'm actually planning to narrate this at some point, as a recording that I can then release. So
amazing.
After I finish some of my current projects, this is in the list.
Great.
In the queue.
Amazing. Well, speaking of the queue, if anyone wants to find that as it develops and basically just follow your audiobook journey, this is where to do it. So please take a look at the comments. And again, thank you so much, Joyce. Thank you for giving so much of yourself. Thank you for giving so much time, and really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Alex, for arranging this, and thank you everyone who's watching and listening and who has been here on and off all day.
Yeah, because speaking of thanks, we just hit the $5,000 mark, so we are good. I'm so excited. Yes. So congratulations. Honestly, we found out, I think like maybe a few minutes ago, but I kind of wanted to share this moment with you because I was like, Joyce like gets as excited as me about things, so I want to be on with Joyce.
Thank you so much. Oh, I am honored to be able to be here for that announcement.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Oh, yay.
Amazing. Well, thank you for being part of it. It would not have happened without you. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Alex.
And same goes for all the other performers who are watching and listening. We reached the $5,000 mark, and it would not have been possible without you. Thank you so much. And to our audience members, thank you, but not that much thanks, because you can still donate, because the more food, the better, because we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what tomorrow brings. So as you feel so inclined, please continue to donate. So I am going to try one more time with Thomas. We'll see how things go. And Jesus, take the wheel. Here we go. Hello.
Hey, yeah, take the wheel, no doubt. Hey, this is good though. It's kind
I
of
think we're
smooth. You know
good.
what? It's funny you said Jesus take the wheel because I was like, you were supposed to have that moment just now with Joyce to tell, so that she would have been on while you gave the announcement that we reached our $5,000. Otherwise, it would have been me. You would have had to share that with.
No, it's not. It's
So
not that. It's hometown pride. We
I-
love Columbia, Maryland. Howard County. There's a lot of Howard County pride. Anyone
That's
who's watching from
wonderful.
Howard County, go ahead and comment and back me up because otherwise I look like a fool. Anyway, I'm so glad that things seem to be working. Before we jinx it,
It
yeah.
seemed to be like right when you said it, just all of a sudden cleared up. It was crazy. I was like,
Oh,
holy
amazing.
smokes. This is it.
Great. Well,
Yeah.
let's take advantage of this Dukes Ex Machina.
Sure, I'll read it really fast.
And we'll save the banter for the end. How does that sound?
Okay, that sounds good. That sounds good.
Amazing. So just go ahead and introduce what you're up to today, and I'll let you take it from here.
All right, sure, will do. Thanks. So, yeah, I was approached by you knew Brandon Dean. He's the author of this. This is his debut novel, Promised Land.
Yes,
And
indeed.
I'll just read real quick here. He shot me a synopsis. I'll give you a quick background, kind of what the book is, and then I'll just jump into some of the selections that I picked. Now there was so much to choose from, really, and lots of good action and stuff. But man, he just excels so much at a lot of more like personal connections between this family and the characters in it. And I thought it would be a good opportunity to share some of that stuff with you guys. So I hope you enjoy. This is, as I said, is a debut album, sure, debut novel. Brandon Dean. It's called Promised Land. It's an alternative history story that addresses the topic of a nuclear attack against the United States in the middle of the Second World War. Now, while the theme has been done plenty of times before, Promised Land separates itself from the rest by having an unlikely and vulnerable hero as the protagonist, and the story itself focuses more on a certain small group of characters and their struggle to survive. So the book serves the purpose to shed light on the troubles that many people face and addresses the fact that even in a nuclear wasteland, or perhaps during a viral pandemic, the old world that is so loved and missed was far from perfect to begin with. The story focuses on a 17-year-old boy named Clint Brodsky, who has overcome his troubles while dealing with the natural dilemmas a teenager is bound to have. His character is broken time and time again, but the love and loyalty that he has for the ones close to him really push him to overcome even the most challenging of situations. The book itself serves to be a dark, emotional, and unfiltered story of survival. So, here we go. Silhouettes of yesteryears and scenes we never knew, foreign forces, domestic fears, and the shortest straw we drew. No more flowers are left to bloom above overflowering plots. The darkness falls upon this tomb and on the lives that time forgot. I hear her call, dear Lady Death, as she sits upon God's throne. But no matter what, on my last breath, I will not die alone. Prologue. It's so quiet, so serene, pure nothingness apart from the mechanical churning of the truck engine ahead of me. I'm on my way back home now, or at least the closest thing to a home that I have. A house of God transitioned into a temple of sin. The ones that I align myself with are broken, no matter which side of the coin you choose. One side is made up of men morphed into monsters, skewing the world to fit their own twisted agenda. The other is made up of men filled with pure helplessness. Worker bees in a hive of catastrophe, unsure whether the breath they're taking right now will be their last. But fear not. I have a plan. And I have a prayer. They aren't going to get away with this. People that I've met along the way, those people I lost to a guy, especially when I was just a teenager who's trying his hardest to grow up on his own. Blanketing the ground don't do much to help matters. Go ahead and paint that picture in your head. Foreign planes systematically gliding through the sunset as far as the eye can see. And in one flawless and precise brushstroke, everything you've ever known is gone. Sometimes I wonder how I'm going to survive all this. Sometimes I want to give up, but what can you do when giving up isn't an option? You see, I'm past done. I don't fear death, but I do fear a world where the ones that I love have to fight this battle alone. Maybe that's what keeps me going. I hope that one day all this will be over, that one day I can wake up to see Hazel by my side. I hope that one day I can prop my own grandkids on my lap and tell them silly stories. I hope that one day I can look myself in the mirror without guilt and regret staring back. I hope that one day we can all learn to move on and be happy. That's all I want now, just to be happy. I hope that one day we make it to promised land. The car ride home was the same as always. Casual discussions about my dad's work and about a piece of jewelry in a catalog that she absolutely had to have. Put it on your Christmas list, my dad would always say, to which my mom would point out how far away that was. Ah, great. Just enough time for me to save up for it, was his classic rebuttal. He never meant it, though. He was a soft-hearted man behind that rugged exterior. He always found a way to get her exactly what she wanted and expected it. The most memorable of them all was a silver in her several years back. She'd been so excited. Now she always wore it around her neck. When sunlight hit the ornate charm at just the right angle, it always seemed to glow. Inside the locket, she had a baby picture of me on the left and a picture of my father on the right. We made our usual right turn into the driveway of 1919 Ashford Lane, our home. A small two-bedroom that was just under 1,200 square feet. The old brick exterior of the home walls practically begging to be washed as a dark layer of dirt moved up the house, fading as if it were a gradient of mud. The flower bed to the side of the front door, usually vibrant with whatever blossoms were in season, now sat near barren, apart from a few out-of-place weeds. Ever since Mom had gotten pregnant, she hadn't had the energy to tend to her plants, and Dad wasn't one to take on such a feminine task. I suppose even chivalry had its limits. Dad stepped out of the car and went around to help my mom. When we walked up to the front door and opened it, we were greeted by the creaking of the glass outer door. Mom spoke. "Are you ever going to oil those hinges?" Dad interrupted. Mom sighed. It was like an act of Congress to get my dad to do any work on the house. He felt his weekly 40 hours at work were enough of a burden as it was. Even so, there wasn't a speck of dirt anywhere inside our home, courtesy of Mom. She was fastidious about everything being absolutely immaculate at all times. You never know when someone will drop by, she always said. But I also believed that she truly found some form of accomplishment in her day as she wielded her broom and dustpan to leave the house sparkling. I walked to the kitchen, which was too small to accommodate a full dining table, so our breakfast table had to prove sufficient. It was an old table. My father had picked it up at a yard sale at a price that was practically free. It had surely been a beautiful piece at once. The white paint was chipped and scratched along its round surface. As I approached the table, I was greeted by the sight of my math homework from the Friday before. I'd never been good at arithmetic, but tomorrow was Monday and time to complete my work was running short. I sat at the table while Mom ran herself a bath just down the hallway. I could hear the water heater hiss like a snake, stuck in a lead pipe, as it kicked on. Excuse me, I need to hydrate really quick.
How dare you?
I know, right? Live narration. This is a totally different animal. I can't edit. Can't edit any of this. Okay, here we go. Square root of 256, I muttered to myself, counting on my fingers as I watched Dad enter the kitchen. He stopped at the back door next to me to look out the window for a moment. He turned his head toward me. "I'm gonna go get that oil for the hinges," he said before opening the door to the backyard where the entrance to the cellar was. The catch-all for all the things that we had no place for in the house. The cellar was filled with all of my father's tools, holiday decorations, and miscellaneous items that we didn't have the heart to throw away. I thought it was strange that he felt the need to explain himself to me, but he didn't seem any more a couple of days, so I dismissed his behavior. I looked up at the clock that hung on the front wall above the oven. The time read 8:30 p.m., and I still had homework to do. I typically tried to be in bed at 10 so that I could be at least somewhat motivated to get ready for school. I'd never been a morning person, and it wasn't out of the ordinary to see me crawl out of bed at noon on the weekends. About 10 minutes passed, and I finally found the answer to my first question. 16, I thought, feeling like an idiot for have taken so long to work out the problem. My mother, now finished with her bath, walked into the kitchen sporting house clothes, her hair still wet. She waddled to the sink, grabbing an empty tea kettle from the counter as she passed me. "Where'd that father of yours go off to?" she asked, filling the kettle with tap water and placing it on the burner to boil. "He went to get some oil from the cellar," I said. "You mean he's actually going to fix those hinges?" she asked in sarcastic shock. "Yeah, I guess so," I said, trying to focus on my homework. I was on question 7 and had only 4 problems left. I took a quick glance at the clock. 2:12 p.m. I pressed my dull pencil to the paper once again and then stopped, realizing that Dad had been gone too long to simply be getting oil for the hinges. "Mom?" I said. "Yes, honey?" "What's wrong with Dad lately?" I asked. The corners of her mouth turned down, making her look grim. She pulled out the chair next to me and took a seat. "He's just scared that he's going to have to leave us," she said. "Why? He's still here, isn't he? It isn't like Dad to be acting like this." "I know," she replied. She paused for a moment, her face indicating that she had something that she needed to say. "But he didn't have to serve in the last war, and he was lucky that he got to stay home. That's why he's so scared of this war. He can't stomach the thought of leaving us, especially right now, with the baby coming soon." Mom was obviously upset, so I stood up from my chair and gave her a hug. I heard the back door creaking open behind me, and Dad walked in with a small bottle of oil in his hand. "Now, what's all this about?" he quipped, sounding overly chipper. I knew he was hiding it now. He didn't want us to be scared. But little did he know that sometimes it's okay to be scared. I placed my half-finished homework in my folder, settling on copying the answers from Riley in the morning. "Love you, Mom. Love you, Dad. Good night," I said before walking down the hall into my bedroom. "Time for school," Mom shouted as she rapped on my door. I grabbed whatever clothes were clean and threw them on. I groggily walked down the hallway into the bathroom and immediately noticed that the mirror reflected a worse version of myself than I'd imagined possible. I hadn't gotten much sleep the night before. I'd been worried about Dad. I couldn't wait for this war to be over so that he could go back to being himself again. I hastily brushed my hair and teeth before heading to the kitchen for breakfast. The radio was on. Thankfully, though, it was just playing a song. Not sure which song exactly, but my mom seemed to know it. She was humming along while she set the table. She'd made her usual Monday morning breakfast of biscuits and gravy, a favorite of both my father's and mine. She felt that we needed to start the week off with something to look forward to. It really was the little things that mattered most, regardless of how trivial they may have seemed. I realized that before I sat and saw that there were only 2 plates and 2 glasses of orange juice. Plate and covered it in a thick white layer of gravy. "Where's Dad?" I asked as I sat down. "Work early today," she replied. "Okay with him?" She reached across the small breakfast table to take my hand gently in hers and looked me in the eyes. "You don't need to worry about your father, okay? This will pass. Everything will be fine." "What if he gets drafted? How will it be fine?" "You can't sit around thinking about what ifs all the time. It'll take away from what's happening right now," she said. "Yeah? And what's happening right now?" Mom smiled at me. "You have both of your parents, you have your friends, you have your health, and you have your future. That's what's happening right now. Have a new brother or sister that you can show the world to." I smiled back at her, and she pulled her hand away slowly. "Now eat your breakfast before it gets cold." I nodded. Mom always had a way to make me feel better. No matter what, she was someone I could always count on. I finished my meal supplies and gave her a hug goodbye. I stepped outside and noticed that the creaking of the front door had become a faint sigh. I guess Dad had gotten around to those hinges after all. And
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
yeah,
So
definitely.
something that I noticed and I really love about watching you and hearing you is that you just have such an appreciation for the text and for the work of the author, and it's just really beautiful to watch someone who seems to truly enjoy collaborating in this way.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Oh, that's definitely one of the absolute high points of what I'm so blessed to be able to do. Being able to offer that to authors is has been just an incredible experience. So
Yeah, yeah, that's really wonderful. So, I typed in I couldn't find where you
oh,
posted your information, so I creeped
sure.
you on Google and I just linked your
Okay.
Audible. Does that work? Or you can post whatever you want people to link to if they want to get in touch with you.
Yeah, I had kind of closed down the feed on Facebook to stream at all. So I'll just jump back
It's you
in
too.
there and post some.
That'd be
It
great.
did kind of seem to help. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll
and then you can
post
read all
some
your
quick
fan
stuff in
mail.
there. And yeah, great. Wonderful. Oh, I wanna plug really quick, a new project that I'm just getting up and off the ground. So keep your eyes out for the Enabling Fabulers podcast. It'll be me and my brother as we kind of dig deep into authors and the stories that they write and how they relate to our current social and political climates and kind of what was going on in the lives of a lot of these people that have really shaped our current world with their work. So I look really forward to getting that out there to folks. So thank you so much, everybody, for spending the time to do this. Alex, especially thanks. And I look really forward to hanging out with you guys for the rest of the evening and break legs, everybody.
Definitely. Congrats on great work. And before I jump on to the next project, I did want to make sure that everyone saw Brandon's information. If you really enjoyed his first crack at a novel, I mean, that's amazing. Please go ahead and take a look at what he's posted for us, because I will definitely be doing so. So I am going to turn it over to my good friend and new collaborator, Jaw, aka Josie. Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm so great. We were just to catch everyone up to speed on our little inside jokes that we've had since meeting each other 5 days ago. No big deal. Josie is she's Jaw on Facebook, so I was a little worried. I thought she was some kind of like warrior who'd beat me up if I got her story wrong. But
No, and
she
no,
still
you
may.
don't think I am. No.
So tell us where you're coming to us from.
You what? Sorry.
Where are you coming to us from right now?
Oh, from the UK. I come from the north of the UK, but I live down in the south, work in London for my sins. So it's all very quiet round here at the moment.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. Well, are you, I would love to hear a little bit. I would love for you to set the scene a bit for this little excerpt that I'll be reading for you. We had a narrator collaborator who unfortunately had to step out of the project, so I'll be filling in for him. So please pardon my transgressions, but please go ahead and I don't have my real mic set up or anything. I apologize, but I'm sure that your work will shine through, even with my brain coming to the end of this thing.
Fine. It will be fine. And also, huge kudos to you for going through 10 hours of rehearsal yesterday?
12. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
And straight into this one, man. Serious kudos.
That's all good.
But the story that I wrote is called The Christmas Criminal, and it's one I wrote for a charity anthology that we do every year. The proceeds go to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence. So it's something I'm really proud to be involved in, and every year we a big group of us sort of put our stories into it. And I normally write fantasy, and this one year just none of the stories were playing. You know, stories are a bit like teenagers. You can tell them what to do and they'll be like, fine, I'll get on the shit. But if they don't want to do it, they're not playing. So you might as well go find something that is working. So this particular year, just all the usual characters not playing at all. So I thought, well, I've had dogs my entire life. And so much funny stuff happens with dogs and cats. So much funny stuff. So I just really like the idea of sort of writing this a very, very silly story about this puppy who comes into a house where there are already sort of an established pack of a greyhound, a Labrador, and a rather snooty cat. And the puppy is very earnest. Penny is the puppy. She's very earnest. She wants to get things right. And she listens and she thinks about things. And she gets all in a bit of a twist about this idea that somebody is going to come into the house every year. And the snippet that I've got you there is just at the beginning, where she's explaining this to the other dogs.
Dude, Penny is my spirit animal. As I was reading it, I was like, all of the little uncertainties, all the little earnestness, I'm like, ooh, I feel called out. Speaking to my soul.
Oh no, I love Penny. She's so cool. She thinks
so
about things.
Sweet. She's so sweet. Great. Well, thank you for entrusting me with your work. And I'll just be reading a little bit of an excerpt from The Christmas Criminal. So
thank you very much.
Yeah, I'll take you off the screen, but then I'll bring you back on once I'm done.
Okay.
Okay. Let's do it. The Christmas Criminal by J.A. Clement. Penny glanced at her reflection in the window, a young black mongrel pup with a thoughtful expression. This would be no easy feat. She pattered rather nervously into the front room, where the older dogs, Toby and Stan, were lolling on the sofa. Alexander was perched on the end, ignoring the others with his usual feline haughtiness.
Gentlemen, she began, we have a problem, one that will take all of us to solve. I think we need to have a household meeting. Is that all right?
Toby, who was lying belly up, wagged at her. That's perfectly all right, Penny. It's a good idea if you have something to discuss. What is it? A household meeting? Oh, good grief. Alexander stood and stretched himself with a fine show of feline disdain. You can't mean to include me.
I do mean to include you. We're going to need your help, Alexander.
And what makes you think I have the slightest interest in your problem? Toby yawned. Alexander doesn't have the slightest interest in anything that doesn't have feathers. If it's not wriggling, he's not interested. Alexander fixed him with a flat stare.
Is it about food?
Stan erupted out of the sofa, wagging his enthusiasm. I like problems about food. Bones and hide, Stan, you're such a Labrador, Toby sighed. Yes, I am. I am such a Labrador, and I like problems about food. Tell me about your food problems, Penny. Stan sat heavily in front of her, staring earnestly.
It's not a food problem, Stan. It's a house problem. I thought you should be interested, Alexander, because someone is going to invade our territory.
And? Alexander twitched his whiskers. I'm not the guard dog here. If you let some stranger in the house, I hardly think that's anything to do with me. He rose and began to stalk along the back of the sofa to the door, his tail sleek in the air behind him. Well, perhaps not, Toby drawled. And we could hardly expect a cat to defend his humans now, can we? But it would be a terrible shame if a burglar got in and stole some things, wouldn't it? Yes, terrible. Alexander's voice dripped with insincerity. You know, Penny, I saw a burglar coming out of a house only the other day, Toby mentioned. And the odd thing is that all of the things in the house, what he had chosen to steal, it was kind of like a toy, a rod, with a string coming off of it, and on the string there was a bunch of red feathers and gold glittery things. Alexander froze, one foot in the air. Toby winked at Penny. Yup, all glittering and fluffy. It made me want to go and play with it there and then, and I thought, that's terrible. Some poor child or creature is going to be all happy, going to play with its feathers, and they'll go into the room and bam, no feathers, because a burglar took it. The cad. Alexander turned away from them briefly, as if he had to take a moment to compose himself.
I'm sorry, Alexander. Did you say something?
Penny asked politely. The cat cleared his throat. What I said was, how sad. What a sad story Toby tells. That poor child, if something similar happened to, well, to little Lucy, say, I should never forgive myself. We might be the guard dogs, Alexander. We might be the guard dogs, Alexander, but this is your territory as well. Do you really want to allow such gross impertinence? That sort of disrespect spreads if you allow it to. Toby jumped down from the sofa, stretching from the tip of his long, slender paws to the end of his bony greyhound tail. You have to nip it in the bud, really, Or first it's humans going in and out of the house with no regard for anyone's property. And then it's dogs and squirrels and stuff. And finally, if you're not careful, Toby assumed a stern look. Spot from next door. No, he shall never have it, Alexander hissed, the fur on his back rising in outrage. I shall fight for the honor of this house, and I shall keep the things safe from marauders. Excellent. I'm so glad you'll help. Penny wagged gently. Help what? With the food problem? Stan was still watching earnestly, though how much he was picking up on was anyone's guess. He was enthusiastic, loyal, loving, and not very bright. He was remarkably strong, though, and he was so big that if he was growling and barking, he could be very scary indeed. That's a good point, actually, Stan. What is the problem exactly? Toby asked. It's to do with this party the children are having. Penny told them about the conversation she had overheard between Lucy and Mama earlier. This Santa person sounds like quite a shady character. Every year he breaks into the house, and from the sound of it, not just our house, but lots of houses. This is our house, and these are our humans. Shouldn't we stop people from coming in and frightening them? Isn't that what he's here for? Penny looked around at her audience earnestly. Toby nodded. It's a bit odd. No strangers came in the house last year. I suppose they could have come while we were out, but if they did, they didn't leave any smells behind, and that doesn't seem likely. But why would she lie? Penny shook her head. Mummy doesn't say scary things to Lucy just to scare her. What sort of person would lie to their young just to terrify them? They thought about this. Uncle? Stan suggested. Well, yes, but Mummy always tells him off when he does. Toby scratched his ear with a hind leg. I think we're missing the point, though. Alexander's tail tip had begun to twitch with furious precision. The point is that a stranger is going to break into the house in the dead of night and steal all our precious things. If the humans do intend to do anything about it, then it's up to us. That's why we need your help, Alexander, for surveillance. Penny sat up again. You can go upstairs and we can't. If you look out the windowsill, you'll see anyone who looks to be watching the house. Alexander considered this and grudgingly nodded approval. And while I'm doing this, Stan patrols the front garden, Toby patrols the back, and I make sure no one gets in the house. In daytime, that should keep him out, but nighttime is going to be a bit more difficult if we're shut inside. Penny looked from one to the other. We need to be on hyper alert, boys. We're looking for an old man with a white beard and white hair who isn't Granddad. And when we find him, we sink our claws into him. It might be better if we chase him away in the first instance, Toby suggested. Once he knows the house is defended, he probably won't come back. That sort of sloppy thinking is what criminals rely on, Alexander snapped. What if he does come back? What then? Eh? Toby exchanged a slightly pained glance with Penny. If he comes back, that might be the time to sink your claws into him, I suppose. Drive the point home and all that. Ha! I'll drive all the points home, don't you worry about that. Alexander paced off, muttering, the tip of his tail a twitch. So, that is The Christmas Criminal by J.A. Clement.
It all gets far more chaotic from there. Far more chaotic.
It's so fun. It's so fun.
I really enjoyed listening to that, actually. That was a really good version. Thank you.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Do you have anything else that you would like to say about your work?
Not much really. I mean, if anyone wants to read any of it, it's on Amazon. And all my contact details are can be found from there. But no, as I said, it's kind of not it's not the stuff that I normally write, but I just thought right now people actually need a laugh,
Yeah.
and those ones are good fun.
Yeah. We actually had a great time talking about the fact that people are so attached to their pets right now because we're all at home.
I know.
So, yeah, I think it takes on a different meaning because those are our best friends right now, or at least our coworkers or whatever you'd like to call them.
Yes, there was a very entertaining post going on around about co-workers.
Yes, that's right.
And indeed, my co-worker is currently snoring on the sofa in the corner.
The slacker.
Shocking. Shocking.
All right. Well, I really, really appreciate it, Josie. Thank you so much.
No worries. Thank you for having me, and good luck with the next couple of hours. Hour?
Well, only one more. We're in the home stretch.
Yay!
We're in the home
Yay.
stretch. Ending
Doing
with a
great
bang.
things. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Oops. Cut off that bye. Oh, well. Well, while we are transitioning over into the next time slot, I did just want to point you towards Thomas's correct information that I did not post correctly. So if you'd like to take a look, then please do so. But yeah, we'll just be moving right along. If any of you are joining us for the top of this next hour, hello. My name is Alexandra Palting. I am an actor and a singer who is based in New York City. Right now, I'm coming to you from Washington, D.C., and I'm also the founder of The Hustling Creative. That is the company that is putting on this fundraiser. We're fundraising for Feeding America. Oh. Yeah, I know.